Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, one and all, the show where you send in your questions and us idiots answer them. It's basically the dream team today. Chris Hamill and Patrick Van Straten sat to my right, and the first question is a special one because it's her Facebook video question. Thanks very much, Amon Dean. Let's roll that video.
What up, guys? It's Amon Dean again, and I'm here to ask you guys a question. Should Liverpool give up the chase for Naby Keita, or should they just keep trying to buy him and just hold out till next season and work with the squad that they have?
So, Pato, why don't you lead off? Answer Amon Dean's video question. Should they give up? 90 million euros they've apparently been quoted. Already had a 75 million euro bid rejected, confirmed by the RB Leipzig director.
It depends what Leipzig are kind of suggesting behind closed doors. Like in public, they're definitely playing it really tough. They're saying they won't sell him under any circumstances. But you'd have thought with a 48 million buyout next summer, and you'd imagine that Bayern or somebody will take a punt. Maybe they would rather sell him out of the league for a bigger profit now. I don't think they should give up if they think they've got the tiniest chance. I think he would be a transformative signing for them in the same way that Pogba is for Man United. And actually the price is still cheaper than Man United paid for Pogba, despite the fact that Keita's skill set is arguably rarer. Even though he may, I don't know, he may not have like kind of the Hollywood passes or whatever. So I don't know, if I were them, I would definitely try and get him. He's the one man who instantly turns their midfield into one of the best in the country. Yeah,
but I'd 100% agree. They're a scary team going forward, but 90 million euros, I wonder whether Liverpool can afford that. To be able to afford that and the centre half seems a push. I don't know Liverpool's financial structure well enough, to be quite honest, but that's a lot of money.
I mean, that would be significantly more than the American owners have paid for any other player
by a long way.
By, well, twice the amount, because Salah's already the record transfer signing. I mean, if Verratti's worth 100, then 70 seems about right for Naby Keita, 70 to 75 in my opinion, but it's hard to quantify players with his skill set and players at all in this market because it's going berserk, isn't it? I think they need to invest significantly to maintain pace with the top four. You look at Manchester City, Manchester United and Chelsea, they're all doing their dealings very early on, aren't they? And they're all going in very big for players. Chelsea having signed Morata, Man United having signed Lukaku, and Manchester City now are strengthening at the back as well. So the top four, getting in the top four is becoming an increasingly difficult prospect, especially for the likes of Liverpool. I mean, they struggled with squad depth, didn't they, last season? But that front 5 or 6 is looking really promising now, isn't it? Salah, Sane, Firmino. Then they've got that base of either Emre Can, Henderson, Wijnaldum.
Got Coutinho in there
Coutinho as well, pulling the strings from deep. I'd suggest they need to sign a couple of defenders. Robertson's coming from Hull. He's just a squad player, but a centre-back is imperative. If they get 30 million for Sissoko from Palace, will they put an extra 15 mil on the Naby Keita fee? Maybe, who knows, but they need to start signing, in my opinion, Would you, either of you, put a cheeky bid in for Costa if you were Jurgen Klopp? Now they've secured Morata.
I don't think he's got any interest at all in staying in England, Diego Costa. I think he wants to get the hell out of Dodge ASAP. He just hates it here.
Who's going to buy him from abroad?
I think he's nailed on to go to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I think so too.
Done, signed
and just sit on the bench for 6 months?
Yeah, sit in.
Not even on the bench, in the stands.
Sit in the stands for 6 months. Apparently it's like £30 million, cheap as chips.
That is an absolute steal.
Take him away. Diego Simeone knows exactly what he's doing.
What has happened there?
Keep him on the bench for 6 months, bring him back. What an impact
Do you think Morata's a significant improvement?
Long term, sure. Like Diego Costa's 28 and he's got dodgy knees, but in the immediate term, not really. Like I love Morata. I think Morata's amazing, but Diego Costa's really good.
I know, man.
It's outrageous, but I think it's been terribly handled as well. The Chelsea situation. I mean, he clearly shot his load way too early, Antonio Conte. Way too early by texting Diego Costa.
I
still think he thought the Lukaku sign was in the bag.
Yeah, it was done and dusted. He thought it was done and dusted, and he bolted way too quick out of the traps, and it's all gone wrong for him. But hope that answers your question, Amandine. Fingers crossed. Thanks for sending in a video question. If you want to send in a video question, you're far more likely to be featured. Send it into our Facebook. There's a link on screen and in the description below.
Lesson learned.
MC Dodge has the next one. What is the worst run club out of the top teams in the world? There's a few names to throw in the hat here. I know you want to talk about Barca, Pato, so get it off your chest.
They're just horribly, horribly run.
Especially at the moment. It's all gone wrong.
They're so badly run. Like, I mean, obviously the team has remained good because they've just had this incredible generation of talent to carry them through. But some of their signings are genuinely incomprehensible to me. Like the fact they looked at Jeremy Mathieu and they were like, he'll do a job. Like, you're Barcelona, you don't have to get Vermaelen and Mathieu. They signed Alex Song a few years ago. God knows why that happened. Andre Gomes, terrible. And it's
also a lot behind the scenes. You look at some of the Barcelona fans and the presidential elections that are going on. It's insane. I mean, let's not forget as well all the Qatari sponsorship fiasco that's gone on over the last 5 years, where they've ditched UNICEF and bought in Qatari sponsorship so they can fund a new stadium build. Behind the scenes, the club is dodgy. It's on dodgy ground. We've seen Xavi.
The politics are so rife.
So rife.
Their greatest manager in the modern era experienced burnout after 4 years. Luis Enrique was pretty much in the same predicament as well.
We see
they don't get the same backing. Well, I mean, Alex Ferguson at United was a special case, wasn't it? But I don't think any manager is going to be at Barcelona for longer than 3 years.
Especially not at the moment. When Pep's getting hammered.
There's so much turnover now. Like, what they need is a guy who's going to help out the manager. But they bring in a manager, and they always talk about like knowing the Barca philosophy, knowing the Barca way. It's like, that's not what they need. They need just like a good manager who will sort them out. Like, they don't. Continuity is not always the best thing if it's continuity with a previously bad process.
Is Valverde the man?
It's like, well, exactly. I'm not sure he is. They could have gone a little bit more ambitious. They could have gone for a Tuchel or something like that. They could even try and take Simeone off Atletico Madrid.
Well, there was
if they
talk
wanted
of Sampaoli, wasn't there? But obviously he went to Argentina.
Been amazing. But then you look at things they've missed over the years, and you see them like they gave up the chance to sign Asensio so they could sign Douglas from Brazil. They missed out on keeping Thiago, one of the best midfielders in the world, because they just didn't think to play him. It's so stupid.
I don't think a Sampaoli or a Bielsa tolerates the politics behind the scenes. They're both fiery characters.
Because that's why Pep left. The reason Pep left the club was because of the politics behind the scenes.
Well, he had to act as, he was spokesperson, manager,
he was 15
director
different roles
of football,
at the club. And let's not also forget that La Masia is in a really bad way. We've seen Xavi Hernandez come out this week absolutely cascading some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes with regards to selling players and buying them back. He was suggesting they should never be doing any of that. Puyol was kicking up a fuss with what Xavi had said. It's all just a bit
why aren't they should be a bit more like Bayern then. They should bring in these people, these players that have a history of excellence, of long service, and let their love,
but they can't
let them nurture the youth.
Again, it's the political side of Barcelona the club, because those players have left in the first place because of the politics. Don't want to come back and deal with more politics. Didn't leave on particularly
bad footing, did they?
No, Xavi and Puyol didn't, but why are they not still at the club?
This is changeable though, because when you think about it, like 18 months ago, we were like, Real Madrid had like Benitez as manager, everything was in the shit tip, like Barcelona had just won the treble, and everyone kind of said, oh, this could be the start of a new dynasty where Barcelona win every title for the next 10 years. And here we are 18 months later with 2 consecutive European Cups in the trophy cabinet at the Bernabeu, and Barcelona don't know what the hell's going on. So they can resolve it.
But are they the worst run club? I mean, we're talking off camera a little bit. Inter Milan push them very close.
I mean, yeah. On the subject of Rafa Benitez, Inter Milan have been a mess for a very long time. Yeah. And barring that treble-winning side that Mourinho held together with parcel tape, I mean, you had the likes of Zanetti in there, who'd been going forever. Diego Milito, who was experiencing a purple patch at the end of his career. He was in his early 30s, right, when they bought him, or late 20s at the very least. Materazzi in defence. Who's the goalkeeper? Cesar, who went to QPR not long after. And then ever since Benitez had that heated exchange of words in the press with the owners at the Club World Championships, they've gone through Mancini, Pioli, a 14th place finish, the 7th place finish. The ball lasted 3 months. They've signed, I mean, they've made some good signings recently. I think Gagliardini's a good signing. I mean, Icardi's whole fracas with the fans.
Gabigol was clearly not a managerial signing, was it? It was clearly a boardroom.
Spalletti's a great pickup, though. Spalletti will improve them.
I think they've had to take a long, hard look at themselves this year, as they're so far behind Napoli and Roma and Juve, who've been actually extremely well run for the last 4 or 5 years.
Sure.
So if they weren't to appoint someone like Spalletti, and it was fortunate they got Spalletti because, I mean, he just fell out with the Roma hierarchy, didn't he?
Yeah.
He should, by all means, still be at Roma. He got a record amount of points for them last season.
Yeah.
But very, very fortunate. So I think Inter Milan would be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, is there an argument for Man United in some areas? Commercially, one of the strongest runs.
Since Fergie left, the handover.
Commercially, since Fergie left, we've arguably been just as strong. I mean, look at some of the sponsorship deals we've done, some of the players we've landed. But on the pitch, handover-wise, has been a shambles. It couldn't have gone worse, arguably. It really couldn't. I mean, Jose pulled a little bit of a rabbit out of the hat with the Europa League last year, but let's not forget we finished 6th. It's pretty unacceptable to go from Ferguson and then through Moyes and then through Van Gaal and then to Jose and we're still 6th. It's not great. I mean...
But you're not going to be there this season.
We're not... Well, we shouldn't be.
I can't imagine you would be.
On the pitch and in terms of some of the managerial and academy decisions we've made over the last 4 years have been very substantial.
Very funny.
I think had Van Gaal come with decent results, I know he got the FA Cup and did he get Champions League football one year, but Van Gaal's philosophy was the antithesis of everything United fans are so proud about their club, isn't it? So it's the way you've kind of deteriorated.
So they're not the worst run club because, like we said, they make good signings. They're brilliantly run commercially. In terms of a fall from grace, probably one of the biggest revenue streams in world sport. But in terms of actual footballing on the pitch, it's been a shambles.
They almost are too big to fail, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
just because they can buy talent. Whereas, I mean, if you want to look at a club that was big but was definitely capable of failing, look no further than Valencia. I mean, Valencia aren't a big club anymore because they f***ed up so badly. They're so stupid.
And because Peter Lim's a fucking idiot.
George Mendes got his little hands in, didn't he? And he was just like, oh, have Nani, have Enzo Perez, who's 29. You know what? It'll only cost you 30 mil. Mental. Valencia aren't a big club anymore, and they did it to themselves.
It's such a shame as well. This is a team who went to 2 Champions League finals in consecutive years, whereas it had guys like Mendieta at the club, Canizares in goal, and now, look at them. Clawing onto La Liga status at the tail end of last season.
But who do you guys think is the worst run club? Barcelona, Inter. No, you're actually quite well run.
Not a big club.
Actually quite well run. Rangers potentially.
They're a new club.
Well run.
Yeah, well run. Oh, I thought you said Celtic, so that ruined that end.
So there we have it. Let us know in the comments below.
Class.
I don't recognise the existence of Rangers.
Adam Jersey has the next question. Has this been the craziest transfer window that you can remember?
Crazy.
Well, fairly obvious answer, yes.
Tractor boy.
When some of the fees being bandied about are this large. I mean, Jose Mourinho said last year, didn't he, that the fee they pay for Paul Pogba this year would look reasonable because players of half his quality would be moving for about half the amount.
Yeah. What? Are you talking about Gylfi Sigurdsson for 50 million?
50 million pounds I'm talking about. I mean, it's absolutely insane figures being bandied about. Obviously, Lukaku and Morata are the 2 standout big money deals. And you'd have to say, Morata, although he's a fabulous signing, and they've probably paid the right amount, a couple of years ago, if you were to say you're going to sign a player that sits on Real Madrid's bench every week for 80 mil, you'd be like, whoa.
Well, a couple of years ago, they re-signed him for 25 million, didn't they?
I know.
They sold Higuain for 32 million.
And I'm not there having a dig at Morata because I think he's a phenomenal signing and a phenomenal player, and I think Chelsea have done well to pick him up for 80 million. But
apparently it's 58 with add-ons. Significant add-ons.
That's very reasonable.
That's according to the Metro.
I read it on the way this morning. It was the front cover of Marca was 80 plus 8. 80 million euros up front and then 8 add-ons. But I think it's going to be up and down, isn't it? But nevertheless, this window has been insane. I mean, Gylfi Sigurdsson, 50 mil, Pat, yes or no?
I mean, that's mental. That is mental. You're basically signing... I like Gylfi Sigurdsson, but you're signing a guy who takes free kicks and corners for about 50 million quid. And when you think that, like, AC Milan have got Çalhanoğlu for about half that, it looks nuts. I mean, I don't think it is... It's crazy in terms of the amounts being bandied around, but, like, I want to see weirder, stupider signings. That's what I want. And that's where West Ham come in. They never let you down. Oh, Javier Hernandez, that's okay. Don't particularly like it. Arnautovic,
horrible.
Joe Hart on loan.
Zabaleta, yeah, that's fine. Zabaleta, mental. Don't understand it. Like, they're just giving long-term deals to guys who are like 1,000 years old, whose knees are coming off.
I don't think Zaba's that bad a transfer. Considering who they had at right back last season, who they've just resold to the Bundesliga. I forget his name. There's no reason I'd know his name. He was absolutely toilet. I've seen milk turn quicker.
What, Howard Nordtveit? He's gone to Hoffenheim.
You would have to say that West Ham's owners have got to be the most clueless owners in football. I've seen a quote from him this morning, genuine quote.
Jesus.
I watched it. It's on the West Ham website if you want to go and check it out. They must have changed it by now, but he said, at the start of the summer, our entire goal was to go for quantity over quality. And he must have been a gaff. Wow. It must have been a gaff.
Well, Bilic signed 10 players last season, didn't they?
But they
How many of them are in the first team now?
Surely that's not his actual mindset.
Did he sign Ogbonna?
I don't know.
That wasn't a bad transfer. Who else did he sign?
He did sign Ogbonna.
The young Argentinian.
Lanzini. Oh, I think everyone likes Lanzini, right?
He's their only creator, though. He's their only creator.
Yeah, he is their only creator.
Mikel Antonio has been shifted from a right back to a striker, and people are like expecting a striker's output from him.
I agree that like sometimes you do actually need numbers, not just quality. Like it's better to get say like 10 players who are 6s rather than like 4 players who are 8s because your squad's really thin. But they're not going to be in Europe, and I don't think their squad's terribly small. So why do they give a shit?
When they sold Bale,
they just need to buy intelligently, and they're capable of it.
I mean, like 30 million is like the new norm for a player, isn't it? It's like the flat line.
I'm not sure. I mean, you see on the continent, there's still very good value for money deals happening regularly. AC Milan, as you just touched upon it, have had an incredible summer. Andre Silva for 35 looks like a snippet. Saw him in the last few Portugal games. He looks like a player of real international calibre. I mean, they've signed Ricardo Rodriguez, haven't they? He's their next most expensive signing.
Yeah.
They've signed Çalhanoğlu from Bayer Leverkusen. Who else have they signed?
Bonucci, mate. Don't forget Bonucci, the big one.
Bonucci, of course, has just come in. And how much was Bonucci? 30?
40 million euros.
Like 40.
£30 million, 40 million euros. That's insane. I mean, obviously British clubs are paying.
British clubs have a massive premium because of the TV rights.
Premium, yes.
There's a degree to which that's true, and there's a degree to which it isn't. So, for instance, Pascal Gross came over from the Bundesliga. I think he's gone to Brighton. I think he's gone for about 6 million euros. Now, if you look at people who created the most chances in the Bundesliga last season, he's about 3rd or 4th on the list.
That's impressive.
And they've got him for under 10 million. So the problem is sometimes I think people are going for names rather than actually like scouting players intelligently. Like, yes, British clubs do pay a bit of a premium, but there's still intelligent business to be done.
Sigurdsson's indicative of that. He didn't even complete the most passes, I think, in the Swansea team last season, and he's viewed as their playmaker, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quite astonishing. I mean, Premier League's club spending has surpassed 500 million since the end of last season. That is ridiculous. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, I think
we spent 1.16 billion last summer. That's going to get smashed out of the water.
The number of players who have cost £50 million in like football history is going to double this year because they're all going for that. I mean, Walker, Lacazette, Mendy will probably go for that as well. Like they're just now
that Walker's gone for the same amount as Zidane.
40 rising to 50 is just like the basic fee now for
a Premier League side anyway.
I think there's still value to be had between Premier League clubs as well, right? Iheanacho to Leicester. If they get him for 25 million, that's incredible.
Robertson that you mentioned before.
Yeah, Robertson, 8 million to Liverpool. I mean, can you guys think of any more examples?
Well, I think if there's still a big English player premium as well. I know you talked about Robertson then, although I think
you're talking John Stones.
I'm talking John Stones. I'm talking Jordan Pickford. I'm talking Ross Barkley costing £40 million. Kyle Walker costing £54 million. I think if you're an English player, basically you're an extra £15 million on the fee.
Unless you get Wayne Rooney on a free.
Yeah.
And get Manchester United to pay a large bulk of his wages.
I mean, that's a good deal, but again, it wouldn't have happened without the Lukaku money.
Sandro Ramirez, that was a good deal. It could be a good deal. Or he could be a nothing player.
Yeah, it's like no risk, is it?
But yeah, to answer your question, Adam, pretty obviously, yes, it is the most crazy window. Your favourite queen has the next one. Who do you think is the best academy-grown youth player that doesn't get game time? We're going to switch it up a little bit because it's quite a niche one. Basically, who's the best academy-grown youth player at their team right now? And I'm not talking Lionel Messi, Pato, because I know you want to say him. I'm talking young players still. Still sort of in that teen years that you think he is unbelievable.
And they're not playing enough.
Not playing enough.
And they've had to come through the youth system.
Okay, so we rule out people like Pulisic and Asensio.
Yeah, and we rule out people like Gianluigi Donnarumma, who we all know is going to be a real fighter.
Whoa.
Did Locatelli get a lot of games last season? I think he did.
Yeah, I think he
did. Got a fair few. I think Regani potentially this season. I don't know whether he's a Juventus youth product, but looks a hell of a talent. And now Bonucci leaving, probably is going to get a lot more game time. Can't say Marcus Rashford because he played the most minutes of any Man United outfield player in the entirety of last season.
Man United actually played double. Their graduates got double the minutes when compared to their closest rivals. So Mourinho not playing youth, bit of a myth.
I mean, the obvious answer here, you look at that Chelsea squad that's all been sent out on loan that should have potentially got more game time. Nathaniel Chalobah, very strong.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek
really crushed it. I mean, I even went to the playoff final, saw Izzy Brown, by far the best player on that pitch, and he couldn't get any game time at Chelsea. So the Chelsea Youth Academy is outrageous, but they've all gone, so we can't count any of them.
Who did Chelsea sell to Bournemouth?
Nathan Ake.
Ake. So it confuses me when they spend a lot of time and effort developing someone like Nathan Ake, and then buying Rudiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
For a lot more money as well.
But they might have Christensen back. We still haven't had that confirmed. I don't think whether he's actually going to be it.
2 great seasons in the Bundesliga. Yeah.
He definitely should be at Chelsea next season. I mean, I really like Alex Iwobi. I didn't think he would be as good as he is at this stage. And I thought he had a really good first couple of months of last season, and then started to be kind of scapegoated for bad performances, whereas actually we were just bad. Yeah. And then he got benched basically for the rest of the season, which I thought was weird. Josh Onoma at Spurs is really good. Harry Winks is good at Spurs as well. Shea Ojo at Liverpool.
There's an obvious shout as well. You'd say Marco Asensio is going to start a lot more games this season. He's going to get a lot more game time in my opinion. I think Zidane is going to really look to push him through the first team fairly rapidly, especially now James Rodriguez has moved on. Gareth Bale's consistently picking up injuries. I think Asensio be one of the chief creators.
When they rejected that massive bid from Liverpool, Asensio's like, I'm okay, you're rejecting that, but I do want more minutes next season. And actually, at 2021, he's well within his right to say.
Yeah, and I think he will. I think if there's one manager of those top teams that will give you minutes, I think it is probably Zinedine Zidane, who his whole philosophy is based on team harmony almost, and I think his whole game is that sort of team spirit. And to keep Asensio happy, he's more than happy to play in minutes, and he's deserved. Asensio's a fantastic prospect, and probably better than most under-21 players in the world.
I know I've harped on about him before, but the fact that Patrick Roberts looks set to be going to Southampton on loan for a season astounds me, because I'm baffled as to why he's not getting a chance in that Man City squad. He's so naturally gifted, such an array of finishing. I mean, he was man of the match when Celtic played Manchester City at home in the Champions League. Yeah, I just think he's got end product. He can play anywhere along the front three. Brendan Rodgers actually played him in a false 9 a lot last season when Moussa Dembele was injured. And yes, I know it's Scottish football, but Celtic have had some very prodigious talent go through their ranks in the last 5 years. You look at the likes of Van Dijk. When I first saw him, I thought, here's a player who's significantly better than the level we play at. And now Manchester City, Liverpool are after him for 50 million. I genuinely think Roberts is one of those players.
But I think City's biggest problem is always going to be they have such a
they've just bought Bernardo Silva.
So
if you're Roberts, you're like, what the f is going on?
But isn't Southampton a good move for him then? Because he will get regular game minutes in a side that is very good at blooding youngsters.
It's a good move for him, and it'll... If he plays well, he'll more than likely end up as a permanent, right? Because Manchester City have such a young attacking trio.
Yeah. Agreed. Like you say, they're selling Kelechi as well. He can't even get any game time. So Paddy Roberts, at the moment, in my opinion, is further down the pecking order than Kelechi, and he's been sold.
I'd like to see PSG bring through some youngsters. Like, they've let Jean-Kevin Augustin go to Leipzig.
Really? I've not seen that.
Yeah, but they've basically...
Is that a loan?
No, it's on a permanent deal. And it's only for about 11 mil. But you look at them and you think Kimpembe needs to play more, Nkunku needs to play more. And this is a side that they're the only big team in Paris. There were more players born in Paris starting in Europe's top 5 leagues over the last few seasons than from any other city around Europe.
Wow.
So there's tons of talent that comes through in Paris. They're the only club there. They should be mopping it all up. And yet, they're not producing that many youth players, bar maybe Rabiot.
I was going to say Rabiot's the last one, right?
Yeah. So you hope in a way that they're going to start to look at youth a little bit more.
Yeah. So there we have it. That's all the time we've got on today's episode of Sunday Vibes. If you want to get your questions in next week, send a video one to our Facebook or just comment below using the hashtag Sunday Vibes. Thanks very much to Christopher Hamill for joining me, Patrick Van Straten as well. You guys have sent in your questions, and we'll catch you next time.